Hi everybody! Here is our last read aloud for this unit called Seasons and Weather. I want to say thank you for working so hard at home. I've been seeing all the hard work that you've been doing, and I can tell that you're really listening to the videos and paying attention to the read aloud, so thank you. Like I always say, I have such a good class and such good parents. Thanks everybody. So here's the note catcher that you're going to need for today's lesson. Here's the first page. We got 3 on the front and there's 1 more on the back, and then you have your journal prompt on the bottom. Okay, and today we're going to hear another letter from our pen pal Annie, and she's going to discuss the study of weather and predicting or figuring out what the weather will be like before it happens. Listen for the words meteorology and meteorologist. Those deal with weather and predicting weather. Say the word meteorology. Now say meteorologist. Meteorology is the study of weather and weather prediction, and a meteorologist is a person who studies weather and predicts what the weather will be like before it happens. Listen for the different types of people who depend on meteorologist predictions of the weather. Okay? This is called meteorology. Here's Annie. Ooh, let me tilt this so you can see her better. There we go. Dear kindergartners, this is my last letter to you about seasons and weather. Today we will learn how to know what kind of weather is on the way. Have you ever watched the weatherman or weatherwoman on the news? Sometimes people blame the weatherman for bad weather, especially when their plans are spoiled by rain. But the weatherman does not control the weather. He just tries to predict or make his best guess at what the weather is going to be like later in the day, tomorrow, or next week. Sometimes he is right, and sometimes he is wrong. The study of weather and making weather predictions is called meteorology, and the person who does this is called a meteorologist. The words weatherman and weatherwoman are sometimes used to describe people who appear on television to tell you about the weather. Maybe you've seen them on an evening news. Often the weatherman and the weatherwoman is a meteorologist. Okay, so your first question says, what does a meteorologist do? What is a meteorologist's job? Pause the video if you need to. And to write a complete sentence, you could say a meteorologist and then tell what they do. Okay, start with an uppercase letter and end with a period. Predicting weather is important so that people will know what to wear that day or whether or not they will need an umbrella because of rain. Predicting weather also helps people to plan things like picnics or trips to the beach. If my parents are planning a family picnic, for example, they would want to make sure that it's not going to rain for us while we're outside. But picnickers and vacationers are not the only ones who care what the meteorologist has to say. Farmers need to know how much rain to expect. If the meteorologist says it is not going to rain for a while, farmers may need to find out another way to get water to their plants. In fact, anyone whose job could be affected by the weather needs a meteorologist, whether the person is a baseball player, a construction worker, a garbage man, an airline pilot, or an astronaut. Okay? That's the answer to your next question. Name some of the people who depend on meteorologists. Okay? One way meteorologists predict what the weather will be like in the future is by studying weather patterns and temperatures from the past. When you watch a weather report, the weather person will tell you what the high or warmest temperature and the low or coldest temperature will be for that day. High temperatures usually come during the daytime, and low temperatures are usually at night. However, the weather person can also tell you if the temperatures on a particular day are normal for that time of year by checking the weather record. The weather record is kind of like a weather diary. It lists what the weather was like on that day in previous years. Besides looking at weather records, what else do meteorologists use to predict the weather? How do they know what's going to happen? In fact, predicting the weather is quite complicated, and even with all the amazing computers and equipment that we have nowadays, the weather person is still sometimes wrong. However, meteorologists' predictions are also correct a lot of the time. This is thanks in part to satellites, like this one in this picture. Satellites are objects that are launched into space that contain cameras, radios, and antennas, but no people. Once in space, the satellites travel around the Earth. The satellite cameras take pictures and beam them down to meteorologists. Using the photos, meteorologists can see storms as they develop and predict whether the skies will be clear or cloudy. Okay, so your next question on your note catcher, it says, how does a weather satellite work? If you forgot the answer to that question, that's okay. Just rewind the video of it because I know that's a bit of a hard one. Okay. And then to use a complete sentence, you could write a satellite and then tell what a satellite does. Of course, you don't always need a meteorologist to tell you what the weather's going to be like, especially if dark clouds like this roll over your town. These dark clouds are types of cumulus clouds and often develop into thunderstorms. You can also find cumulus clouds during nice weather when they appear white and puffy like a cotton ball. So sometimes the clouds can help you predict what the weather will be like. These are cirrus clouds. They are thin and wispy clouds that float way up high in the sky. Usually these clouds mean the weather is going to be clear and pleasant. Stratus clouds are the third cloud type, and they float fairly low to the ground. These flat clouds can stretch across the entire sky. They sometimes drop light rain or drizzle. Okay, so there's your next question right here on the back. It says, what is one way that you can tell what the weather will be like without listening to the meteorologist? So what can you do? What else can you do besides listening to the news and a meteorologist that can help tell you what the weather will be like? Okay, and to write a complete sentence, you can write, you can, and then tell what you could do. Uppercase letters, periods, stretch out those words all by yourself. It's okay if you spell some things wrong. The most important part of a meteorologist's job is to help save lives by warning people or telling people ahead of time when severe weather is on the way. Look at this picture. It was taken when a hurricane was headed toward land. A hurricane is a huge storm that forms out over the ocean. The meteorologist in this picture is studying images of a hurricane just as it is about to strike land. The image was made by a computer that is able, thanks to satellites, airplanes, and other tools, to determine how fast the wind is moving, how much it is raining, and in which direction the storm is moving. Thanks to computers and satellites, the meteorologists saw the hurricane days before it came anywhere near land, so they warned people to leave their homes and head to safer ground if necessary. A lot of people were kept safe from this severe weather because of the meteorologists. Meteorologists help people stay prepared for and safe during whatever challenges the weather may throw their way. Last page. Even though you can predict what the weather should be like during any given season where you live, it is difficult to always predict from day to day exactly what the weather will really be like. So it is a good idea to listen to your local weatherman or weatherwoman so you will know to carry an umbrella that day or bring some extra sunscreen. That way you'll always be prepared. Thank you so much for helping me with my weather project. From now on, I hope you'll keep an eye on the sky and always pay attention to the weather in your neighborhood. Your friend, Annie. Okay, so that was our last letter from Annie. I have a couple more questions for you to think about. If a meteorologist on the morning news says that it's going to rain today, what do you think you would need to bring with you? And what will you wear? Okay, think about it. Maybe tell mom, dad, or a brother or sister, someone who's around you, or say it out loud. Okay, and your journal prompt today says, why is predicting the weather important to you in your life? So you could say, it is important because, or you could say, predicting the weather is important because, and think about it. Why do you think it's important to know what the weather is going to be like? Okay? So you've got another little video that you can watch about becoming a weather watcher. I'm also going to post a little craft project with some cotton balls and construction paper that you can do at home if you want to. That's just for fun if you feel like doing that. You can make some clouds out of those. And I think that's it for today. Tomorrow we will start our new unit on Columbus and the Pilgrims. Have a good day.